set decoration is the hardest job on a film. Like I only lasted for 4 years before like I gotta be a designer, right? I'm gonna go ahead and sit at the desk. I'm just teasing.
Welcome to Inside the Set with SETDECOR, a series that focuses on the design and decor of the stories that excite us and ignite our imagination, where we discuss the collaboration between set decorators and production designers and hear first-hand accounts of how these works of art came to be, from their inception, ideas on a page, to completion, when we get to sit in the dark and experience them collectively.
Welcome to Inside the Set with SETDECOR. I'm Elizabeth Keenan, SDSA, and today I'm so thrilled to welcome set decorator Monique Champagne, also SDSA, and production designer Hannah Beachler to discuss their incredible collaboration on Warner Brothers' ambitious supernatural action feature, Sinners. Welcome, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hannah, this is your fifth project with Ryan Coogler. It's pretty impressive. I wanted to ask if you have, at this point, a kind of a secondhand dialogue with one another. Does he trust you? Does he let you go? Or do you still work very tightly together and share notes all the time?
I think all of that. I think, we do have a shorthand for sure. And Ryan has a lot on his plate, especially with Sinners, where they were recording music live, and then you had the twinning of it all. Then you had, 70 millimeter film and IMAX. And I think we've gotten to a place where, he trusts me, he trusts my judgment, he trusts what I'm thinking aesthetically, because we work together, so we kind of understand what those aesthetics want to be. And of course he gives notes and we talk and all the things, so we're kind of doing it all. And when you're doing something with like such a short amount of time, and it's funny to say that because how long was it, Monique? Like 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah.
In a short amount of time, but it felt like, you know what I mean, it went really fast.
Yeah, it
And
was over so quickly.
it was fast. And that you have to rely on the people that you've worked with to sort of get you there while so much else is going on. So we kind of did all of that.
I want to just start off in saying, with this film, we begin the film with the purity of a brightly whitewashed little church that belongs to Sammy's father, Jedediah. This film is then told in a flashback of the last 24 hours, led by Sammy, a guitar progeny who is also Jedediah's son. And he's also the cousin to two twins, Smoke and Stack. From there, we descend into a type of allegorical hell, beyond the already dehumanizing realm of Jim Crow sharecropping in the early 1920s. After talking about you working with him for so long, I also, just the note about his social commentary that was woven through this film. There were so many pointed notes and topics that he would touch on that I thought made this story even more powerful and more relevant today than if it had been done 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things I also talked to Ryan about, was just like, how much did we want to get into the history and get into this sort of idea of really the economy at the time, because I think a lot of the film speaks to that. And, when we maybe talk about the grocery stores, Monique can speak on that, because that was a huge dress. And just sort of how each of the sets they're twin to another set, and how they spoke to the differences in sort of socioeconomics of the time in, Mississippi Delta in 1932, because cotton was king, but that comes with a lot. Also just talking about the ancestors, spirituality, religion, capitalism, when we talk about the plantation money, and
Yes.
so much in there, and little gems like when they're talking about Mound Bayou. When I was doing the research and I'd come across Mound Bayou, and it's the first settled town by freed slaves who bought this, property that at the time was a swamp. It was like 800 acres of swamp. So it was probably nothing, right, to buy that because really it couldn't be used. They went in with their hatchets and created this town. And, in the film, Stack talks about it like, or I think Smoke, one of the two, Michael talks about it. So easy to say that, right? Michael talks about it like, they weren't accepted there because of who they were, but they wanted to be there because that's where you could be Black and be free. And we hear that sort of same thing again when they're talking about, Sammy saying Chicago is like where, you can be free. And he's like, well, it's just Mississippi with tall buildings instead of plantations. So there's this sort of dichotomy to what the economy is for all the different people when you look at Bo, Chow, and Grace. And so there's that kind of was the veil over the top of the story. And then we started digging in from there. And really, it leads to everything else, the colorway, the choices of what's in a set and what's not in a set and how we're going to tell that story. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, Monique, can you talk about the twinning and what that means with Smoke and Stack, the colors, and then also, Monique, the stores, and how, if you watch carefully, one side of the street of this town, the shops are for the white community, and the other side are for Black people, and they sell very different things. So, Monique, could you expound on that?
So yeah, I mean, these were conversations that we had with Hannah. She creates worlds that are just like incredibly thoughtful and deeply researched. So we just had like binders and binders of research for things like this. So when we were talking about the different sides of the street, and she can even speak more to speak better to this than I can, but like the focus for Bose was like more like commerce, and the focus for Grace's was more like luxury. So Bose had more things like that you would use as a laborer, like, hard goods, whereas Grace had more like baked goods, luxury type items. I mean, one of the first things Hannah brought to us when we met, she brought to the art department, was a bag of dirt from Clarksdale. And that's when it hit me. I was just like, oh, wow. Like, we're going to build this from the actual earth that these places come from. And I mean, that kind of set the tone for everything. So, and Hannah, you can speak more to this, but like, she went to Clarksdale and asked questions, talked to people, and really felt what it was like there. And then, brought that back to us. And so it was a huge responsibility in a way, but one that it didn't feel heavy. It just felt like just pure energy. I'm really just speaking about Hannah at this point, but like, so we wanted to match that with the sets. We wanted you to feel the sets when you were in them. And so for the stores, I mean, those were huge undertakings, and they were so detailed. We really, I feel like we had a good schedule because the schedule gave us the time to actually like really work on the stores and put the amount of detail in them that they deserved and that they called for. But
That's a luxury right there.
yeah. Well, Hannah fought for that too. I think, being someone who like comes from a background, Hannah comes from a place of art. Like, was your dad an architect?
Yeah.
Okay, like her dad was an architect, her mom was a designer. You've also been in every single position in the art department. So in the beginning, Hannah really fought for us to have the support that we needed so that we could succeed. I think, Hannah, you understand that like when you don't have that support, the sets really suffer. And so I didn't experience that on Centers, because she really fought for us. And I think I speak for everyone in every department under you. We just had the resources we needed to give the sets what they deserve. So it was a fun show for me. I mean, I didn't particularly feel stressed out about the stores because I feel like we had what it took to get it done. I mean, we had like 5 graphic designers
Oh, great.
helping us
Wow.
create all of the products, and like we would bring images to her of like, all of the canned goods or all the bags of flour or whatever, and she would look at them and approve them, and we would find the same types of packaging at the store, and then we would create the wraps for them. We had time, we had resources, so it was a different experience in that way, because often we're like, people are like, here's a tiny coil of copper and a piece of string, like, go make the magic kingdom. And you're like, well, we can't do that. Hannah really protected us. Yeah, like she got us everything we needed. So when it was go time, we were just able to execute and bring to her the things that she was asking for. And I haven't really had that experience ever in that way. So thank you, Hannah.
I wonder, Hannah, is that a result? I know that your father was an architect and he used to take you to sites, to work sites, so that you could envision what was coming. You could envision a 3D sculpture from a framed house or a framed building. How does it affect your work relationship? Have you, having been a set decorator and now you're a production designer, is it hard to let go of that? Or do you feel that you design the whole world? Or do you let a set decorator run and do their own thing? Or talk to me, both of you, if you would, about that dynamic.
Well, for me, I mean, it really depends on the set decorator, right? And I think a lot of designers know how hard it is to find a great set decorator, which I found in Monique. And, I love you for speaking so high. First of all, we laughed more than I've laughed on anything ever in my entire life. And Monique has the best dog, Randy Rhodes.
She
And
loved my dog, which was fun.
I love Randy, like he's my man. And so, a lot of it was Monique being so good at what she does that I didn't have to, like, what I was doing was trying to get us more time and more money and, the right spaces. And I didn't really have to worry. It's like we would go over stuff, we would talk, she just got it.
Yeah.
And that's rare. That's a rare thing. And
Such a huge compliment.
well, I didn't have to worry at all. As Ryan doesn't have to worry about what I'm doing, I didn't have to worry about, like, Monique was getting it. She was bringing, like, this is a woman who is like, well, I just got back from a junk site and I was on top of a thing that was like 50 tons. And then we pulled out another thing, like whatever it takes. Right. And just bringing stuff that's like amazing. And how can you, it's just like options and choices, and every note, every instinct was right. Right. It was like, the one example that I love is in the juke joint, we were going to do this gambling room. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I said to Monique, I'm pretty sure I only said, like, okay, it needs to be 1932, like, that gave her the tone, the mood, what it wants to be, right? And was like, like, go for it. And just talked about the story. Like, when Ryan is telling me and we're talking about like mood and tone and stuff, he's like a griot. And he speaks it to me, because everybody knows I don't read a script. And I'm just kidding.
Don't.
I do. Like
Maybe
one time. Like, you keep your
Wow.
pink pages. You
Yeah.
tell me what's in the pink pages. I don't have time to read those. And this is what we would do. We would laugh. I would do like a stand. It was so funny. And and so that's how I've kind of learned to disseminate and articulate, is like really talk about the people and the place and the mood and the tone and what it wants to be and what people are needing in that moment in the scene and in the space, and how it wants to be and who they are. And sometimes it's me kind of talking through what my research has been, and or talking through what Ryan and I have talked about. And when we were talking about the gambling room, Moon's like, I got to show you this. I got to show you these curtains, man. We got these curtains. And I was like, okay, yeah. And, and we go, and she shows me these curtains, and they're just absolutely stunning, red velvet. And right there, the instinct is like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, these are absolutely right, because they had taken this from like an Al Capone, club up in Chicago. They wouldn't be little ratty tat
Mm-mm.
curtains that I think oftentimes that's what you would get because it's a joint and it was down. But she went beyond that into the story in Chicago and brought that. And I was so excited. And I was like, Ryan, I don't think you were there, Monique, but I took him in your office. Surprise. And I was like, you have to see these curtains, right? And we go in and I show him the curtains. She had them kind of folded up on the table. And the reason they were on the floor the next morning when you came in is because I took them all out. And I showed him and he looked at them and he said, those are perfect.
Oh,
And really at that moment, I was like, she understands this. And it just was the right note.
yeah.
Bringing the craps table from the time period and the lights and the tables. And these are all things that are coming from Monique. These are her instincts based on me like talking a lot. And if I wasn't dancing. And so like when you find that, you hang on to that, right? You find
Yeah.
somebody, not only can you laugh the whole way through, but are at times extreme um issues or extreme moments or, getting the call of like, well, the truck is, 2 feet into the mud on the road to the farmhouse and just chill about it. Not
Yeah.
that I wasn't like, yeah, I ran off and said, everybody fix the road. But I
Well,
was
you
very,
have chemistry. It's obvious you have chemistry.
we have chemistry.
Yeah. Well,
And
her vision is so deeply considered and philosophical, and she's also hilarious. So it's a lot. And anytime Hannah would come in, like as just sheer energy, all of us in the office, we all knew we're taking notes. Like we're all taking notes. We're laughing and we're cracking up, but everyone's right. Like Jess, our assistant decorator, was constantly just writing stuff down. And so was Cherie, one of our shoppers. Like we were all just so happy when you would come into the office, and because I mean you were so busy, you were like building the interior and the exterior of the juke joint, building Annie's, building the farmhouse. So said that, you were like busy doing so much other stuff. And as you know, Elizabeth, sometimes you don't get that time with the production designer,
Exactly. Exactly.
and luckily I felt trusted. I think also Ryan trusts Hannah so much that once she and I clicked, I think when she felt like she could trust me, it really empowered my department. I mean, we just went for it. Like we just went. And uh, it's really because of Hannah and Ryan that we were successful. And because of Hannah's relationship with Ryan, um, also like Hannah's very clear. You were very clear. Like if you said something, you meant it. Like you're not dancing around a thing, like if you know that the color in this space is going to be haint blue, and the haint blue is a specific kind of haint blue, and the reason it's a specific kind of haint blue is because you wanted to bring out the depth of that color. We're listening. I mean, it's very clear. There's no like, oh, well, maybe it should be this, or maybe it should be that, or can we get 4 couches in here? Like that just didn't happen. And so I don't know, I've never worked that way before. I mean, it was really fun. And I felt like we could breathe a lot because of that trust. And I took it very seriously, even though I'm a goofball and I just like to joke all the time. But I wanted to translate all of her ideas into objects that felt like meaningful and important to the lives that lived in those spaces, because to make I wanted to make she and Ryan smile when they walked onto the set.
and we did
Well,
every single time.
Yeah.
I think you accomplished that. And I also think that those drapes, it pushed the idea of sensuality and sexuality and then death and then blood. And so it really says so much with just a drape. I mean, just that.
Yeah.
has such a profound contribution, and all the choices inside there. What I loved about it, it was very minimal. It wasn't loaded full of stuff. They had one day to pull it together.
Yeah.
And you super minimal, even bookshelves that were empty. You have shelves on the wall that might have had one little thing on it, and you didn't try to overdo it. And Hannah, also the large wide planks of wood that you used. The wide plank is so important. And then you use that also inside of Annie's voodoo shop. And then also inside the juke joint. But let's just jump to Annie's for a minute. I just loved the interior and the dressing. It was just enough, not too much. And I especially, tell me about writing on the windows with that grease pencil or paint or whatever that was.
And in the window itself, look, that set was, it moved every single person. That little piece of fabric, perfect.
Yeah.
And the pencil, the writing on the, because it's supposed to be this store, right? She's also selling lunch to workers that were coming out of the field, as well as groceries to people that lived on the plantation. And it was like, she's supposed to be from New Orleans. So you look in the window, it says Yakamain. And Yakamain is a mix between lo mein, it's the Asian Chinese American dish, lo mein, and a sort of leftover soup in New Orleans that kind of came into being in the late 20s. And it's like, well, she's from New Orleans, and in this time period, Yakame would be in the window. And it's something that I think a lot of locals kind of just know about. You don't often go to New Orleans and order up Yakame, but you know, would it Big Frida sells it at Jazz Fest. And, you know, so it's so specific. And that's what we wanted to do. I wanted to show the prices at the time and what these laborers were coming to eat, what she was fixing, and also tell the story why he came to ask her to cook.
Right. That reconnection.
Yes.
And that sweet little grave outside.
Oh.
Yes. And so we kind of went around about like how big, what, like, is it, or is it just something there, right? Or there's that shotgun. And again, that shot is the shotgun, the New Orleans shotgun shot. You can see from the front door out the back door in a shotgun, right?
Same with Clarksville. Because I went down there too. I was working on a movie in Memphis and drove down to Clarksville. Same thing, dirt floors you could see straight through. And it was something else, you know, about 25 years ago.
But every note in that, like, you know, I think I said, oh, I'd love to have some prayer cards hanging from the rafters. And, you know, it's a lot of hoodoo. It's, you know, Monique sat with the hoodoo expert and talked about like what types of things to be in there, where that's concerned. And then it was also like this set particularly had like, it was triplets. It was sort of the twin to the church and its spirituality. And it was the twin to the grocery stores and the fact that it was providing that to the community that it was based in a different way. It's sort of like the outlier of what the mainstream ideas of those things are. And so it's like you got to bring in product that she can get, right? When you start thinking about the logistics, one of my favorite is the jars there on the porch, the pickled, you have to ask Monique about, I was like, pickled jars, color.
Pickled okra. Yeah.
Yeah, you were so intentional about grounding her world in like authenticity and also like in folk magic, but also you kept like telling us this is where people come to be healed, this is where people come to be nurtured. So Annie's was really providing a space for the community, but you know, we had to make sure that we were not like doing this cliched crap, you know, like we weren't going to put a bunch of dolls with pins in there, you know. So it was just like these lived in details that you talked about a lot, just like the herbs, the roots, the jars, the little handwritten notes. Everything in there really had purpose. And it's fun because you can see these details in these shots and often you don't get to see those things. But yeah, you had us hang little fortunes from the ceiling. I don't know if you can really see them on camera, but you can feel them. And Annie's was one of those sets that, like, Hannah just guided us perfectly and let us just kind of have fun with it. And then I think it played its role as like a supporting character to the actors when they were in there.
But
I
it's
also
also
love,
like if you look at those shots, it's like, and you look at the white cabinet, right? And above it, it's got the white can with the red, little bit of red on the label, and then the red, like everything is so, but it's so well put together. Doesn't feel contrived. I think that's my big thing. It doesn't want to feel like a set, like beat the set out of it. And that's we went through so many processes with paints and construction just to get it to that place, of the way it looked. I remember, and I don't know if you were, I think Tim, maybe somebody was telling me that when people came on set that have worked in New Orleans and have worked at Creedmoor Plantation where that set was, they were like, I didn't remember that this was back here.
Yeah.
Back here, like, oh, I've shot here so many times. I guess we never came back here to see this little cabin. And
Yeah.
it's also a compliment. At the same time, you're like, no, we built it, it wasn't. But it's like, and will tell you, Wound Me, who played Annie, pulled me aside one day, and she said, they were doing a rehearsal with her and Michael, and Ryan was there, and after the set was completely dressed, and they were in the middle of the scene where she was talking about war and da da da. They were talking, they were still in love. And at that moment, one of the prayer cards fell and landed on Michael. And in the middle of the rehearsal, and they picked it up and he looked at it and it said, "You are where you're supposed to be."
That's so
And
crazy.
people were like, well, you could feel the ancestors and the spirituality when you walked in there. And I remember Ryan like pulling me over, and there was all these like nature came out.
Yeah, the spiders.
Spiders that I think he did. There's a shot in the film of the weevil spiders and their like intricate web that were on like over certain things. Everywhere we went, nature came out. What, what would have happened then? Right? It's not going to be a place. It's this pristine, like there would have been spider webs, and we didn't have to make them because they brought them. And there it would have been hot. It would have been a little bit humid, and so things would feel damp, or you would have that type of aging on the wood. And we used a lot of rough sawn wood, and we did true cuts, three dimensional cuts as they did, which gives it a little bit of weight, right? And so you use the rough sawn. We acid washed it, we let it gray and shrink, and you get that nice feeling. But they also were painting shadows on it and just kind of creating extra depth in places. That's something I've always wanted to do. And because this was Ryan's like company and Ryan's film, we all kind of had the freedom, right, to sort of kind of play out the things that we always would want to without having to explain to producers. And just trust that this is going to be really fantastic. So we did a lot of shadow painting on the farmhouse, on Annie's. We used rough sawn on all of the sets. True cuts. We did a lot of acid washing. We did a lot of gray wash, and just a lot of experimenting with how things can look like it's been there, because I'm very like my eye is very like I can see it when it feels new, and it's like we got to beat that down and
Mhm.
push it back. And it's okay if things get dirty or if the dust comes in, or that's what it would have been. But Monique's eye and understanding of the story, and her eye for detail and her eye for color and how that wants to work is like beyond refined. And also I just
Oh
don't
man.
and 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 again, that's one of the reasons why it was like we'd have our conversation like Ryan and I do. It's almost like a Ryan relationship that like happened really quick, right, within that time of the movie. Like Ryan and I have been working together for 13 years now, And, Monique and I did the one film, but I feel like, we've been working together forever. And the funniest part is like, we've been around town for like all the same time. Like I was set decorating when, the same time Monique was set decorating. We never really crossed. I've worked with her sister, crossed paths. So this is the first time that we kind of worked,
Wow.
but it's felt like we worked together or at least known each other forever. And so it was very easy. And also I think a little bit of the difference with me is because I did come up set deck side. I didn't come from art direction and set design. A lot of designers do. And set decoration is the hardest job on a film. Like I only lasted for 4 years before like I gotta be a designer, right? I'm gonna go ahead and sit at the desk. I'm just teasing. But it's hard because it's almost like two things. When nobody knows where it goes, set deck will get it done. Um, you know, and that you're one person and one team responsible for every single piece, that's in there. And I cannot tell you how much product went into both of those grocery stores. I remember I said to Monique, I was like, we were talking about the white side of the street and that grocery store and how it did want to be about luxury and sort of like whimsy and cakes and flowers and, things that you would not see, like you would see in the on the black side, right? It's like use fabrics and, things that, you wouldn't be able to buy. But I said to Monique, I was like, I want these crazy cakes, right? I want there to be cakes, and you don't see them. And part of the reason that never bothers me is because you might not see it in the film, but when the actors walk in, they see it. When Ryan walks in, he sees it. And the psychology of that is as important as what is going on the screen. Because now you still need to build a world. You can't just build one wall of it because you're not going to see everything else. When we say, or when I say you're going to walk into a world, you're going to walk into 360 come hell or high water, even if it's like two pieces of tape that we draw pictures on. So that's one of the things. And it's all of these things that culminated, that made all of this stuff, and also made the world believable because people were seeing it and they believed it. So it's like those little grace notes, those little details were always there. And I would say crazy things sometimes. Like, oh, what about and it was never, you know what I mean? And okay, this is what we got, and it's always was better than what I was even thinking in my own head. It was always elevated and on the next level. So everything was so well thought out, with Monique. And again, the eye for the shopping and knowing what it is. And I think the reason I'm not one of those designers who are like, okay, I want it that shows you a picture or a reference that says like, I want it to be exactly like this, but not like this at all. And I'm not sure. But it was, you're showing them pictures and they're like, no, 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 no. And they don't ever tell you why. Yeah. So you're like, is it because you don't like the color? Or is it the couch? Like, what am I missing? And I went through all of that. And for me as a designer, it's like that didn't work for me as a decorator. And that's not every designer, but that's some. And it was more, it was a lot that I worked. And so, it's like be precise, say what you mean, articulate what you want, know what you want and not just what you don't want, because you don't have time. That's also wasting everybody's time. So I think me being different is because I spent so much time as a decorator understanding like the needs of what it is that you have to do, like the magnitude of the job, what you need to understand to shop it, to dress it, to get the world together. So that's important to me, that the set decorator has everything that they need.
That's one thing you did, I think, in every department within your department, was like you would anticipate things like weeks before that were either problematic or things that we would need. So like none of us ever had to ask. I mean, it was truly remarkable. Like I think you could ask Eric in construction this, the art directors this, the scenics this, the props people this, like, yeah, like I think it just comes from being so like just the wisdom of everything that you've been through to get to where you are, and then also the wisdom of all the projects that you've done. So like we just got like hooked up, you know, with like with all of that wisdom. And so we didn't have to jump the hurdles that we normally have to jump. And also I think, yeah, just because Ryan trusted you so much, like it was there was really no case. You were just like, it's gonna be like this, boom. And then we were just given the tools we needed to go and do that. So yeah, it was what a treat, you know, what a treat.
And you're so kind, but I mean, because I always, and then here I go, come back and like, but here, because it's like, let's talk about the church, because that is a
Yeah.
set that there's not, it's very sparse. There's not a lot in that. And, you know, and it was kind of like, okay, it needs that pews. I don't know, build them. And it needs, you know, the two ovens there, the crosses that they made. And, you know, Monique came up with the design for the pews. And she's like, what about these? And I'm like, perfect. They're perfect. And what about these, you know, stoves? Perfect. And they want to go through the thing and like, so it's like, even with the few things that are in there, and my favorite thing that's in this set, there's two things. Back wall, the hats that go across the back wall, that when people come into church, they hang up their hat. You don't come into the church with your hat. So there's a row of these old hats. And that detail is insane. It is so perfect. It's like you are in the church. And also back to the church, the table right there. The bringing
Mhm.
people in remembrance of him as something that's very specific to old Southern churches, and having that up there, and then Ryan coming in, and this is what you want on every movie, is the director walks in and sees the table and he's holding the guitar. He could have put that thing anywhere, you know, and he said it goes here with in remembrance of him. And that is so poignant, just that little moment right there. And the three crosses and the whole thing. And I was like, I want the crosses to actually be part of the beamwork, will feel like they're part of the beamwork. And they made those to do that. And so it's like every little grace note in here, from the podium to the table, to the pews, to the hats, to the crosses, it's simple, but it's right. You don't have to like cover every inch of everything to say what it is. And as a matter of fact, it makes more sense that it is this way. So in the chairs where the kids were sitting, it's just everything about it. And it was, you know, Autumn has said over and over, this is her favorite set. Ryan has said over and over, this is his favorite set. I think it was everybody's favorite set. And it's the set with the least amount in it. And that says something to the things that are in it. And I would always say it's just as important as what's not there as what's there. And I think that can get lost on people sometimes. And it did not get lost on Monique.
It's just such poignant, beautiful work. And Hannah, just that you can give direction like that with and your enthusiasm and can communicate clearly. Obviously, it resonated with Monique, who's already bringing so much to the party visually and ideas and a great attitude and fun. It just sounds like such a beautiful pairing with you two. And I'm
We had fun.
so impressed.
We had fun.
Feel it. You feel it. I really felt it. And while we're talking about working together, talk about working with Ruth Carter, who I adore. And that dress that she has Annie in toward the end of the story when she's on the other side nursing her baby.
White dress.
That just blew me away.
Mhm.
I mean, what can you say? It's Ruth Carter. Like every time Ruth, and she'll laugh because for every film that we've done together, I say this every time. When Ruth, when Ruth comes onto a set with her costumes, it's like a moment, right? Like the sea parts, here comes Ruth. And I always say, Ruth, I need a fainting couch. And it's always remarkable. And you know, she built most of these clothes. So the only thing that I can do when it comes to Ruth is go and be in awe in her space and look at, and she'll walk me through and talk to me about like why she's doing this for smoke and why she's doing this for, she wanted Stack to be a little more blingy with the gold and the gold tooth and the fedora because they kind of Italian, right, gang, and the red and the silk and the cuffs, right? And just the way she like touches the fabrics and shows me around, like it's all like the white dress, the flowers in the hair, and the whole everything she does is just a master class every film. And it's like I kind of just hope to keep up.
I think you've done it. I really. And then Autumn's work too. Autumn Durald Arkapaw is, how was she to work with? Because like she's intense, but how did that go down?
I call her, and it's funny because I'm older than her, and I call her sis because she has way more sense than I do. And watching Autumn on set is one of my favorite things in the whole world. I mean, I wish I was her. She, you know, just commands like this machine, right? And I'm standing in the tent with her, the DI tent with her. She's like operating and pickling, and she's got her, her headset on, and she's talking to. It's like she's talking to everybody at once, right? Like, okay, then that person, I need to go left, go right, go left. Now turn, 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 catch him, catch him, catch him. Mother, move the light, move the light. Like, it's like an F-18 pilot, and I'm just in it, like a kid in a camp, like, oh my, this is so cool. And her ability to catch a frame, like Autumn will come onto the set early and she'll have a camera, and everybody's buzzing around trying to get things ready and doing this, and she's just taking pictures of crew and where the light is coming and looking at the set, looking at the dressing, like she's assessing everything. And the thing I love about Autumn is she loves a wide.
Oh, no, that's great. Oh my God.
And it's so
It
funny
just
with Ryan.
sets you in your place, right?
I mean, Autumn's here, right? Ryan is very close, very intimate. And not that Autumn's not, but she will give you that wide. Go to a 10 or a 15. I'll give it to me. And, and it's funny because I remember, and I'm just going to jump to real quick, Wakanda Forever, that Ryan came up to me when Autumn and I were first kind of working together. And he's like, you'll love this. He's like, we were talking about a shot, and I told Autumn, like, let's do like this. And she goes, let's do like this. And he's like, Hannah will love that, is what he said to her. I believe that was Shuri's lab. So, Autumn can find cinema, and the way she is in control and can command those shots and really see, like, it's fun to give her stuff.
Yeah.
Like that light. Remember that light in the juke joint at the top of the steps? I was like, right, put the light right there.
Yeah.
Down the stairs,
Yeah.
more light. And most EPs would be like, no, if I look up the steps, I'm looking into the light. Like, why would that be there? They'd move it, they tell us to take it down, get rid of it. What Autumn did was made it the moon with smoke. It was Stack and Mary. So when you see that shot on the stairs, and actually the full shot of it was she creeped around the stairs, around those slats that I put on, and goes up the steps with that techno, and the moon, that light is like a moon, and their silhouettes are in it. And it speaks to what's going to happen at the end of the film.
Yeah.
The moon will be their sun, right? So instead of like guffawing at the light, she found a frame and art in that. So it's like I could give her like it was like a candy store. It was like, I'm putting slats here so she can push light through that, and I'm gonna do this so she can put light over here, and just little nuggets that I wanted to leave to see if she'd see it, and she did. And she also, which I've never had done, would come to me and say, what's important to you about the set?
Mhm.
What do you want to see?
Wow.
Now, what? The first time she
It shows you guys, both of you, so what a team. And with Ruth and Autumn, this film is just luscious. You can just take a bite out of it. And I want to thank both of you for making the time to talk with us, because it means so much. And thank you from the SDSA, from inside the set, for Set Decor. Thank you, and best of luck to both you, and kudos all the way around.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thanks,
Bye,
Liz.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Inside the Set with Set Decor. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, setdecor.com.